Hello and welcome back to another tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to create a blaze. So this is what we should get by the end of it. So we'll start off with the actual geometry and then the particles. Just one thing about the particles, I was unable to make them turn when the blaze turns, so I put them going in two different directions so that you can see them from the side as well. So it'll be up to you if you want to add those. So let's just get started then. So first we have to find the height of the of where the head's going to be, and that's going to be about height of 70. So just go to create geometry and create a box, and it doesn't matter what length or width is, just change the height to about 70, and then create another box and make it 20 by 20 by 20, and take it to the about the same height as the box. I checked this in Minecraft, so it should be about correct, because 2 blocks in Minecraft is 80, 40, 40, which this is slightly under, so I'm just going to move this over. So after you've done that, we're going to create the little pylons, or whatever you're going to call them. So just you can hold down shift and just drag the box over and just make a copy of it, and you're going to want to change the length to 5, the width to 5, and the height can stay as 20. And then you're going to want to, what I'd recommend is to move the head into the very center of this grid you see on the floor. So to do that, make sure you're in the move tool and you're on view, which by default you should be, and just change the X and the Y axis to 0. Not the Z though, because we want to keep it the same height. And do the same for the pillar as well. And I usually go for about 20. So yeah, put in on the X-axis 20. So it should be about this far out. And at this stage, it would be best to do the UV mapping for it now. So I won't go much into the UV mapping because I always just mention the same thing. So as usual, go to the modify list in the modify panel, and go down to unwrap UVW. Actually, take that off. First, press the M button for the material editor, and in a new material, go to the diffuse, and right beside that should be a little box. And click that, and choose bitmap, and locate your material, the skin that I'll leave in the description. And when you've done that, you'll on the with the object selected, so have both the head and the pylon, or whatever you're going to call it, selected, and click assign material to selection, which is the third from the left. So choose that and assign to it. And on the right side, the fourth icon over, show shaded material in viewport. So turn that on. So make sure that's toggled on. You can see it in the viewport. And then we'll just get on with the UV mapping. So modifier list, unwrap UVW, the selection, choose polygon, so the flat 2D square, and then click on the open UV editor. And then you're going to want to just select everything, so just go for, drag all over this huge checkerboard layout, and then go to mapping, flatten, mapping, and just press OK. You shouldn't need to change anything. And then you see this checker pattern drop down box here, you can change it to map number 0 or whatever it is called on yours, and you can see your texture that we've got here. Now you may want to use a template to map them, so go to pick texture and then choose bitmap and then assign the template. So do that, and then you may need to rotate them as well, so make sure that they're the right way. I believe this is the wrong way, so as you can see it's not the right way, so choose freeform mode, that's the best one, and then you may need to rotate it. If it's the correct way you don't need to, but if it isn't, make sure it is the right way. So for mine I have to go 90 degrees, but yours might be different, so just make sure that you can tell that's definitely the right way around. So after you've done that, in the very bottom right corner you should have this magnet icon. Hold down and choose the grid version of that symbol, and then using the textures, just select them and assign them to where they're supposed to be, which I don't need to do because I've already done it. So that's pretty much all you need to do. Just follow the template. If you need the template, I'll leave it in the description, and just assign it to each location that it needs to be. So after you've done that and you've finished doing all that and it's fully done for the pylon and the head, convert it to an editable poly. So right click, convert to an editable poly, and now what you're going to want to do is go to the hierarchy panel, which is the 3 little boxes with a big box at the top symbol, and click on the effect pivot only with the box selected, and using the align tool, which will be right up here, click that and click the head and press OK. It should be all correct there. So now what you need to do is now go back out of effect pivot only, so make sure you're not in that still, and then you want to choose the rotate tool and make sure it's right. Okay, so make sure you got that selected, and you should have the rotation tool now being in the center of the head instead of around the object. If it is still around the object after you've definitely made sure it is aligned to the head, you may need to change this pivot option here. So make sure it uses use pivot point center. If it's anything else, it'll probably be pivoted to the to either the grid or the I think it's the wrong one. Yeah. So after you've made sure it is pivot point is centered to the head, you want to hold down Shift. Make sure it's all UV mapped. If it's not, then this is going to take you a lot more time than it needs to be. So hold down that and then rotate it 90 degrees, which you can do with the angle snap toggle tool by turning that on right up here. And then you want to change the number of copies to 3 and then press OK. You also might want to rename it before you do this, but that's up to you. You can rename it afterwards using the tools rename object option. So once you've done that, before you go on to attaching them to each other, we're just going to do the same for the next line. So just bring that down, so hold down Shift and on the Z axis just bring it down using the move tool, and you're going to want to move this one in. You can eye it if you want, it's up to you. So I'm just going to go in about -5, looks about right, and again go to the hierarchy and then effect pivot only and then align tool and align it to the head, and then using the rotate tool rotate it 90 degrees number of copies 3 times. I'm gonna just quickly put a different texture on it because it looks extremely ugly. There you go. So, and then we're gonna do it again. So just take one of them again and just move it down. I believe for the third one it's actually overlapping from the other one, or maybe it's not. It is about. It's up to you. You can always double check it in Minecraft if you have time, but it shouldn't really matter much. So just move that in till it's not inside the box, like I've done here. So it's pretty much just eye it, and then effect pivot only again in the hierarchy tab, and then the line tool to the head. Go out of that again, rotate, hold down the shift button, rotate it 90 degrees 3 times, and you've pretty much got all the geometry done now. So what you're going to want to do is select the box on one of the lines, the top, and it should already be an editable poly. If it isn't, then right click, convert to editable poly, and then do edit geometry, choose the attach, and attach the other 3 boxes on that line. Let's do that for each line. Pivot points shouldn't change because they're all the same. So after you've done that, we're going to just quickly do the rotation. So I'm just going to quickly change this to 100 frames. So as you can see, the top line is going in one direction. I always get my clockwise and anti-clockwise wrong. So yeah. So rotate it in one of the directions. So turn on auto key and go to frame 100. And for the top one, we're going to rotate it 720 degrees. So do that, 720 degrees, and just play that back. If you think you want to make it go even faster, that's up to you. So after you've done that, you're going to want to go to the graph editor. So go to the graph editor bar at the top and go on curve editor. And then with everything selected, so select everything. So zoom out if you need to using the mouse wheel. Select everything. Go to controller, out of range types. And then you're going to change it to linear, I think. Yeah. And press OK. And then play it again. So change the going down to the very bottom corner. There should be time configuration beside this. Beside all the play and that, there should be an option for time configuration, which I think you can see just in the very corner, but YouTube might cut that off. So it's just in the corner. So just click on that, and you get this little box, which will let you change the time. So change it to end time of 200, and then just play it through and see if it keeps rotating after 100. And as you can see, it does, which means it will now continue to rotate at that speed forever. So you could change the amount of frames, and it would not change. It would not stop rotating, so you won't have to animate that again ever again. So and then you pretty much have to do the same for the next one, but this time from frame 100 with auto key on, rotate it in the opposite direction, 360 degrees instead. And again, go to graph editor, curve editor, select it all, controller, out of range types, linear. So click these 2 icons, press OK. and then close it or minimize it if you want. But with that open, it might get a bit more choppy. So make sure that's keeps animating or rotating, and then do the same for the next one, but in the opposite direction. Controller, out of range, types, linear, okay. Now, it's up to you if you want to do this, but for the bottom one, you might want to add a slight bobbing. But the only problem with this is, when it needs to repeat, it doesn't do it very smoothly. So I'll just show you what happens on mine when it gets to 100. As you can see, it flinched for about a frame. But if you're okay with that, all you need to do is let's just keyframe it so at 100. So go to frame 200 and go up. You may actually want to change the Z-axis to something in like 50 or something. So after you've done that, go to frame 20 and go up maybe 5, so 55, and then go to 40, put it back down to 50, 60, 55 again, go to 80, 50, you may need to change 100 to 55, and just see how that goes. You may want to make it slower, it's up to you. So that looks alright. So then go to Graph Editor, Curve Editor. You may want to unselect all this and go to the position and hold down Shift from X to Z, get them all, and then select all those. Controller, out of range, and choose Loop, I believe, and see how that goes. As you can see, it still flinches, but it's pretty good. So now we've got the geometry and all that done, it's pretty much onto the particles now. So what you need to do is let's move everything out of the way. Is create a plane. Make sure the segments are 1 and 1. Change the length to 10. Actually no. 20. Make it length 20 by 20. And then you want to turn on snaps toggle. And you might need to right click on it and make sure grid points is on, so make sure that tick box is on, and then you're just going to want to do that on that, and you'll see it's now gone onto the grid. So pressing T will go into top view and just make a smoke pattern that you've seen in Minecraft, that you might have seen from the fire or from a blaze if you've seen them, and just hold down, actually right click, convert it to an editable poly, and then in the selection go to element and then select the plane, and now just holding down shift and then moving it over to anywhere you want. You can clone it to element, not as an object, so make sure it's cloned to element and press OK, and just make a pattern, a few patterns, about 3 at least. Could be more than that if you want, it's up to you. So that might do for one of them. So just go into the selection and then element and just move them around. And that's pretty much it. So you might do far better smoke patterns than I have. You can always go into Minecraft and take reference from the blaze if you want. So after you've done all three of these, just move them over and then go to, and have them, all three of them selected. Go to the group tool bar up here and click on group, and then name them something if you want. Smoke. And now what you're going to want to do is maybe bring back over your blaze geometry you've already made. So what you're going to want to do now is go to the Create tab, Geometry, and under the drop down go to Particle Systems and choose PF Source, and just make a box with that, and then using the Align tool, align it to the head, and then maybe move it down a bit. You also might want to mess around with the length, but it shouldn't really matter that much. So once you've done that, click on the particle view. Now you only have one of these, but mine's got two because I've already done it. But this is pretty much what it will look like after. So you could just copy it like that. But anyway, so what you're going to want to do is, for starters, click on the PF Source 002 bit here, and you should get this kind of menu at the side here. And then you want to go down to the quantity multiplier and make sure it's 100 for viewport. It'll only show 50% as default in the viewport, which is good if you got a lot of particles, but it can be annoying if you want a specific amount. So after you've done that, you're going to want to get rid of speed, so just click on speed and press delete. Okay, there you go. And get rid of shape as well, so get rid of that. And let's just move this over here. So after you've done that, click on the birth and change the emit stop to something like 1000 or 1,000,000, it doesn't matter, and then choose rate instead of amount, and you can change this value if you want. It's up to you. This whole particle flow could be completely unique to you. It's up to what you want it to be like. So I'm just going to change the rate to 20 for now. Position icon, we don't need to really change anything at the moment. So now what you want to do is you should see all these loads of things down here. So you're going to want to choose shape instance. So just drag it into it and make sure it's a blue line, not a red, because if it's a red it will delete what's already there. So with that selected, with the known in the, under the options here, on the known, click that and choose your smoke patterns group. So make sure it's grouped, and in the separate particles for, choose the group members. Now if we go through that, you're going to see nothing's happening. It's just creating loads of little X's or pluses. So in the display, so click on display, and under types change it to geometry. As you see, it's now changed it, and as you can see, they're all spawning, and they're also very big. So you might want to go into shape instance and tweak around with the scale. So you may want to turn it down about 40 or something. Choose the variation so they're different sizes. It's up to you. So as you can see, it's spawning them, but they're not moving, which we want them to move. So let's just minimize the particle view for now and go to the Create tab and go to the helpers. Wait, no, go to Space Warps. Sorry about that. Which is the wiggly wine icon here. And then under Forces, which should be default, the first one you see, choose Gravity and just drag it in. And then go to Modifier panel and change it to -1 or something similar, or -0.1, so 0.1. and then you're going to want to go and open the particle view again, and you're going to want to go and add a force. It should be down here, and then drag it in, and then with the add or go by list, it's up to you, and add the gravity. So what you should see when you go through the timeline is it slowly goes into the air. So this is also a good chance to change the rotation as well. So go to the rotation and change it to world space, and change it maybe on the x-axis. It could be different, you could be doing it in a different direction, but it's going to be one of these. So change one of these to 90 degrees unless it's already perfectly correct. So as you can see, now they're facing the correct way, but of course they're too big. So go back to space shape instance and just mess around with the size and the variation until you get the right amount. It's up to you. You may want to choose multiple shape random order as well, but it's up to you. So also, as you can see, it doesn't stop, which we want it to stop. So to do that, we're going to add another option here. We're going to add a delete. So add that, and as you can see, they're all gone now, which is not what we want. So change it from all particles to by particle age. So after 60 frames, it will delete the particles, which is good, but that's too many. So just mess around with that until you get the amount you really want it to be. And you can change the variation. I tried to find a way so that over time the particles will scale down to 0, but I can't find a way of doing that. You can animate it, but for something that you want to automate it so that it does it all by itself, there's by particle age, it doesn't seem to be a way as far as I can find. So as you can see, now it's doing it correctly. You may want to, if you want to have it so that you can see from the side as well, you're going to have to add it sideways as well, like I've done on mine over here. So if you want to do that, just go into your group of smokes, go to the group toolbar and click open, and with all of them selected, go to the hierarchy, effect pivot only, center the pivot, and then rotate them, holding down shift and rotate them by 90 degrees if you want to. You don't have to do this, it's an option that you can do. If anyone knows a way of making it so that the particles will rotate with the object, with the Pflow emitter when it's turning, feel free to leave it in the comments, because I can't figure out how to. So what you're going to want to do is attach the new one the new rotation we just created. So after you've done that, so in the edit geometry, use the attach tool and attach them, and you see it should have updated by now, as you can see. So now if you go through it, deleting them after a specific amount, which is good, but there's also something else you're going to want to do, and that's the color. So with the particle view open, you're going to want to add a material dynamic. So add that, add it before the shape instance, because I think it won't work before that, and then press M so you can open material editor or the icon up here. And with a free slot that's not being used already, go and change the diffuse to a slightly greyish color, and then go to standards. On the standard button here, click it, and there should be an option for multi/sub object. and choose it. So click it, and then keep old material as sub-material. Press OK. Change the set number to 3, but you can have more colors if you want, but I'm going to go for 3. So drag the standard object that's in the first one and drag it into the known for the others, and choose copy, not instance but copy. Press OK and do the same for the others, and then go into each one and slightly change the color to a darker grey. And after you've done that, with the particle view open and the material editor, with the material dynamic selected in the particle view, there should be a known option here. So drag your material from your material editor, drag it onto the known, and with the method as instance, so that we can edit it in the material editor if we need to. And then press OK. And tick on show material. And then in the submaterial rotoscoping, choose random and change the rate per second to 0. I think that should work. And then change the submaterials to 3. And you may need to go into each one and turn on the show shade material in viewport option. For some reason it doesn't show up in the viewport, but it is working. Maybe move it up to the top. Yeah, there we go. So do it before position icon and it should show up in the viewport. As you can see, it's randomly giving each particle a different material from the other one, from the last one. So it'll be random which color it gets. So it could be slightly dark one time and it could be light grey the next. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Oh, one thing we forgot to do is to use the link constraint tool. So choose the link constraint tool, which is the link tool, that link icon in the top left corner, right underneath the Autodesk logo, which you might not see, and choosing everything except for the head, including the Pflow, should be there as well. Drag it and choose the head, and now it should be linked. So just check it by moving the right. So as you can see, it now works. Hooray! So that's pretty much it. I'd make sure to name all this so that you don't get him lost. So thanks for watching. If the next tutorial will be how to use Apex Cloth. It's a plugin for 3ds Max that I believe is free. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure anymore. A lot's changed with that. So it's pretty much allows real-time cloth dynamics. There's no simulation required, such as the inbuilt cloth simulator. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, like it, comment if you got any questions, share it, subscribe. If you didn't like it, dislike it. Thank you for watching.